trenches, in the community.
This seat right here is open for anyone to come on and dare to speak the truth. We will challenge topics and situations in a way that is forthright, but we're not here to appease people's sensibility or to make people comfortable and alive.
Peace and blessings, universal family. First and foremost, as always, I give honor and praise and thanks to God, who's the head of my life, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for me being alive and well. Because had I gotten what I chased after, I'd be dead. Thank Him for His goodness, His grace, and His mercy. As always, I start off with Psalm 35, a few verses. O Lord, plead my cause with those who strive with me. Fight against them who fight against me. Take hold of my shield and buckler and stand up for my help. Also draw out my spear and my staff and stop the way against them who persecute me. Defend me. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. I am more than a conqueror. And I thank Him for His goodness and His grace and His mercy. There is so much that is on my mind and my heart right now. My prayers and blessings go out to all of the family members the last week or so that have experienced gun violence and murder in our city. To all of the families who have lost loved ones on this last week and a half or so, my prayers and thoughts go out to all of the families. Our community, particularly Black people and our Latino brothers and sisters, we're truly losing life in our community. It is an epidemic. And like there's so much going on, brothers and sisters, in the political atmosphere in our city. You have so many Black people who are in influential positions who have literally sold their souls for money. They have abdicated their duties. They have tricked a lot of us in the Black community here and in the Latino community with their bravado about Black Lives Matter, the suffering and pain that's taking place in our community. And the behavior that has taken place within the last 2 weeks has been absolutely horrible. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to begin. I'm going to be on for about an hour. I really need you first and foremost to share this video. Share it right now, because I'm going to lay out to you clearly those Black people who are in leadership positions that are traitors to the Black community. They have committed treason. They are truly profiting off of death of Black people in our city. I'm going to lay out to you in clear terms that Mayor Sarno is a liar. I'm going to lay out to you in clear terms that he never cared about the Black community. I'm going to lay out to you in an hour's time of the black allies that I have been talking about for the last 5 years. 10 years I've been really talking about it, but 5 years since I've been in a working relationship with Juanita Batchelor, who lost her son 9 years ago to murder in her house. And her and I met on a Zoom call, and she appreciated what I was saying. And we had a meeting in her office. She gave me the keys to her office and asked me to help her. In those 5 years, she has become my little sister. Her grandchildren call me Uncle Charles. Her family has become my family. And for the last 5 years, there has been no woman, no community activist that has been more bold and courageous in highlighting gun violence than Juanita Batchelor here in the city of Springfield. There's no other organization, no other institution in this city that have contributed more to families' lives than Juanita Batchelor. So I'm going to try to get through this without breaking down, because this is hurtful. So, wow. So where do I begin? So today in the newspaper, the Republican that doesn't really go against Dominic Sarno at all, they did an article in the newspaper today, an editorial. And in the editorial, it talks about Dominic Sarno's rhetoric on gun violence. And it says if he plans on doing anything with gun violence, he needs to have Juanita Batchelor and Michelle Thomas at the table, right? And so this is in today's newspaper, the editorial. They said everything that Dominic Sarno, the mayor, is talking about when it comes to judges letting repeat offenders out is valid, but it's now become rhetoric because he doesn't have a plan for gun violence. For 5 years, Juanita Batchelor, Michelle Thomas, how you doing, Sister Tangela Clark, Rolanda Ballard, I'm gonna forget some names, so forgive me, please, have been at the forefront marching on Dominic Sarno's office, giving solutions to gun violence. For the last 5 years, we've had Save Our Streets, in which the mayor has never shown up. For the last 5 years, as families have been suffering through gun violence, the mayor, the Health and Human Service Department, the city council, the NAACP, the Nation of Islam under the leadership of Johnny Vernon, Archbishop Bayman, any of those organizations have not sat down and talked about gun violence at all. We who live in Springfield are well aware that the NAACP under Bishop Talbot Wesley Swan II, nor Johnny Vernon, nor Archbishop Bayman of Christian Cathedral, So these list of people who Dominic Sarno has just appointed to do gun violence has never once sat with anybody in the black community who's in the trenches in gun violence. So let me bring you up to date. We had a double homicide on Union Street, followed up by a murder on Stebbins Street, followed up by a murder over by the old technical high school. City Councilman Justin Hurst then petitioned Juanita. He called me last week and said, we're going to have a press conference. I want you to be there to speak. This is after he made some other calls. I was the second person he called. I was in D.C. at a political, doing some political stuff. I said, I can't be there. He was like, oh man, we're going to postpone it. I said, no, don't postpone it. So he called Juanita Batchelor. He had Francina Brown, Desi Jackson, Dave Lewis from the African Diaspora Mental Health Association, Dallas Clark from Creating Better Minds, Project Last Stop with Gilfrey Gregory, Derek Wilson, Christy Torres, Rasul, 11 to 12 organizations out there. And so I asked City Councilman Justin Hurst, who's now running for mayor, I asked him, who else are you inviting to this event? He told me, I'm inviting Bishop Talbot Swan II, president of the NAACP, and I said to him, he's not going to show up. He was like, I'm sure he's going to show up because it's a part of talking about the health of the community. And I told City Councilman Justin Hurst, as I'm sitting in D.C., that Talbot Swan is not going to show up. So we made a wager. And I said to him, if Talbot Swan shows up to your press conference with the rest of the community residents, I'll buy you and your wife dinner anywhere in America. But if he doesn't show up, you got to contribute $300 to my campaign. Talbot Swan didn't show up, nor did Johnny Vernon of Missions, Inc. They do the press conference, right? At the press conference, the mayor, Johnny Vernon, none of them shows up. Later that afternoon, Dominic Sarno puts out a press release on the city's page saying that he talked to Bishop Talbot Swan II of the NAACP and Johnny Vernon, the minister of the Nation of Islam, and that he was working on a solution for gun violence. But they didn't show up with the community. Tracy Whitfield was there. All of the people who have been working on gun violence was there, but they wasn't there. Followed up a day later, Dominic Sarno, Bishop Talbot Swan II, Johnny Vernon, LeVar Click, and Carlos Gonzalez do a photo op in Dominic Sarno's office, talking about he's meeting with community leaders, talking about the uptick in violence. Bishop Talbot Swan has never met with any many of us in the trenches working on gun violence. He's never sat with the families of murdered victims in our city, and I know for a fact Juanita Batchelor emailed him on several occasions, and he never got back to her. But yet he can take a photo op with the mayor, but he can't sit with the black community. Now, let me give you a history of the relationship between Dominic Sarno and Bishop Talbot Swan II, the president of the NAACP. It was Talbot Wesley Swan II, the president of the NAACP, that led the charge against Dominic Sarno and the Springfield Police Department on their racism and the brutality that led to a consent decree being brought to the city of Springfield. It was Bishop Talbot Swan who led the charge with other people in the community, railing against the police officers who beat up the 5 black people at Nathan Bill's. It was Bishop Talbot Wesley Swan II who led the charge with the firing and asking for the firing of Cheryl Clapprood. He kept insistently calling her a Brady cop, a liar, and a racist, and he deemed her to be inappropriate and demanded that she be fired. Through all of his demands, all of his railing against white supremacy and systematic racism, Dominic Sarno told him and the rest of us in our community that that racist, lying police superintendent was not going anywhere until she retired. So what has happened over the last 2 years? That there's been this shift in the NAACP's president not speaking out against subjects that are pertinent in the black community here in Springfield. Now, for years I've talked about Archbishop Bayman being a black ally of white supremacy. I've talked about Pastor Gail Hill. I've talked about Bud Williams. I've talked about Marlo Brown. I've talked about LeVar Click Bruce. I've been telling this community in this city for the last decade of black allies of white supremacy who gained their only economic monies through the poverty, pain, and suffering of the black community. And for the last 10 years, I've been called the reason why the black community can't get along. I've been told that because of my attitude, that I'm causing division in the black community. I'm just going to get to the meat and potatoes of it, right? So, Talbot Wesley Swan II has a nonprofit organization called Kojic Family Services that was established in 2008, and they haven't done nothing since 2015, according to his website. He's just been approved to receive $225,000 for Kojic Family Services. This is why he has been quiet. So, a month or so ago, I called him out and I said, why haven't you endorsed Justin Hurst's campaign? You are ahead of the oldest black organization in America. We're in a time like no other time. He went on his radio show, and if you listen to him this Friday after this live, he'll be on again talking about me, calling me names, but he won't address these issues. So then I'm walking through the community, and somebody says to me, Brother Stokes, here's why Talbert Swan can't endorse Justin Hurst. Showed me the website where Talbert Swan's name was linked to campaign contributions to Dominic Sarno. So I called him out on that. He went on his radio show, called me crackheads, all types of names. A small thing. But it was okay. Now, he cannot deny that his nonprofit organization from Dominic Sarno, a mayor who he called a racist, a bigot, a mayor who he's been talking about for the last 3 years in derogatory terms, truthful, I might add, but now he's quiet because his nonprofit organization has been approved for $225,000. Why would Dominic Sarno, this mayor, approve a man who's been calling him out for the last 3 years, $225,000? It is to silence him from talking about issues in the black community. So on the 11th of this month, now, Tangela Clark is on here. She lost her daughter, Tamara, to gun violence. As she got out the car to hug a friend, her daughter was shot down. She's been advocating in this city. She just had a function. This is Juanita Bachelor's sister-in-law. She just had a function. And none of the people that Dominic Sarno is calling as a part of his solution plan that I know of has met with this woman, this mother, about her daughter. But yet, these same people now are doing photo shoots with Dominic Sarno. These same people. Now, everybody that Dominic Sarno has invited to be a part of his gun violence solution has been promised money. Hope CDC that's run by Archbishop Bayman and other pastors have been promised $500,000. State Representative Bud Williams says he's going to give them another $500,000. Line item, that's $1 million. Pastor Stephen R. Williams from Revival Time Church and April Robertson, whom he invited, was promised $1.3 million. Who else got some money? Johnny Vernon of Mission Inc. received $85,000. So when Dominic Sarno tells them to show up, they have to show up because they want that money. They are black allies of white supremacy who is answering to Dominic Sarno for money.
my son's killer and other families, their killers are still, walking about, and there's no justice, no closure for your family. So
Playback.
Funky drummer, music hitting your heart, cause I know you got a soul. Hey, listen if you're missing, y'all. Swinging while I'm singing, giving what you're getting, knowing what I knowin', while the black band's sweating, in the rhythm I'm rolling. Gotta give us what we want, gotta give us what we need. Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. Fight the power. Fight the power. Fight the power! Fight the power! Fight the power! Fight the power! We got to fight the powers that be! As the rhythm's designed to bounce with calcium that the rhymes designed to fill your mind. Now that you realize the prize arrives, we got to pump the stuff to make it tough. From the heart, it's a start, a work of art to revolutionize, make a change, something strange. People, we are the same, no we're not the same, cause we don't know the game. What we need is awareness, we can't get careless. You say, what is this? I love it, let's get down to business. Mental self-defense of fitness. Don't let the show. You got to talk to what you know to make everybody see. In order to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. 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 We got to fight the powers that be. Elvis was a hero to most, but he never meant shit to me. Is he straight out racist? The sucker was simple and plain. Motherfucking in John Wayne. Cause I'm black and I'm proud. I'm ready, I'm hyped cause I'm amped. Most of my heroes don't appear no stamp. Sample look back, you look and find nothing but rednecks for 400 years if you check. Don't worry, be happy. Was a number one jam. Damn if I said you could slap me right here. Hit it. Let's get this party started. Right on. Come on. What we got to say. Power to the people, don't delay. Make everybody see. In order to fight the powers that be.
That all of you love, all of you are affiliated with and associated with, to trick you into believing they care about the black community and all they want is the money.